What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel, check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on Bronny James, right? And this video is a request by somebody. Let me see, somebody in my who left a message in the chat. And who was it? Was Mig Gigs said A661, right? And he left a response in my chat about a video that I made about Bronny James and how he looked and how I thought that Bronny James was not ready to, he's just not NBA quality, or you know what I mean. So let me read what Mig Gigs said, and it says, "A good take, bro. Could you do a take on the fact that Bronny James had access to world class trainers, facilities, and yet still isn't good enough? Yet the kid in the hood is much better and still doesn't get the opportunity, right?" And so that's true. Like, look, Bronny James, in my opinion, I think Bronny James, like his skill level, he's like a good basketball player, right? And good is like a high school. Like I remember when I was young, and a guy, I probably was like in high school or getting ready for high school, and I was talking to this guy about basketball, and he told me, he said, man, if you want to make it to the NBA, you got to be exceptional. He told me, he was like, you good. He said, but you have to be exceptional. And I didn't know what exceptional was until you get out there and you start seeing guys who are, you don't see a whole lot of exceptional guys. You gotta, like, you run into a lot of guys that are good. Then you run into some guys that are better than the average. And then when you start to play, um, you start to watch and the game, then you'll get to look at somebody and be like, oh, okay, this guy got it, right? This guy's got it. And so when you look at Bronny James, you just know that he don't have it. And for LeBron, and for like the guy in the chat that say LeBron, Bronny James had access to world class facilities, first rate trainers, right? And even with having access to that, you still got to have that passion and that work ethic to want to be that dude. And every time, whenever you see a basketball player, most basketball players who have that kind of talent, it's just it's something about them. Like it's they got it, and that's what we say. They're like, all right, if you see this person, oh, this dude, he got it. He's special. Um, you don't see it every day, but when you do see it, you can recognize it. And LeBron James don't have it, even though his father played in the league, was a great player. Even though he had world class, like we said, world class trainers in the facilities, you can't take shortcuts because you got to put that work in. Because when you get that call, you got to be ready. He knew that he was going to get that call, right? Because of who his father was. Ever since Bronny James was a small kid, LeBron James giving interviews and said, I would love to play in the league one day with my son. So that had been instilled in Bronny James from day one. But what he couldn't instill in him is that hunger, right? And that's why sometimes, like the young man in my chat said, that sometimes you'll have a guy who has that hunger and has that passion for the game and may not get the opportunity because of because of maybe his background, or maybe he made a mistake, or maybe for sometimes basketball is political, then you get overlooked for that. People say it's not fair, right? It's definitely not fair when you have a guy like Bronny James, who definitely, I mean, he don't play the game like he's passionate. Like when we were young, and if you play with a guy who's not passionate about the game, and you out there and you getting it in and you grinding, like you don't want to play with guys like that. You want to play with guys who just even in pickup basketball, you don't want to play with guys like that. So I can just imagine being out there with somebody on a professional level, and you trying to make a team in the G League, and you got a guy out there who not qualified, who don't know how to use picks, who don't know how to set his teammates up for for easy baskets, who don't know how to like cover, in certain situations, whereas though you don't get burned or anything, don't know how to call out picks or nothing like that. You can't make the team playing with a guy like Bronny James, man. That make you look bad. You, that make you look bad. It just make he can't do nothing for a team but bring a team down. You know, and like the guy said, ask. Let's speak about sometimes people don't get the opportunities. People who could probably be who could be ready. What was the guy name that was with the Lakers last year? And Bronny James kept getting all this time and getting all the publicity and stuff like that. Was this Quincy? I think his name Quincy Oliveri, right? And or even not just Quincy Oliveri, but what's the other guy? I think he got overshadowed, and that right there could put a damper on Quincy Oliveri's career, because those are minutes, those are valuable minutes that Quincy could have been getting some look. He could have been getting some looks. He could have been that. He could have Quincy could have been somebody who could have came in and help the Lakers, put in some quality minutes for the Lakers. They was really it was big up in them during the summer league, and he was his play in the G League. He was getting, and next thing you know, he's not even on the Lakers G League team no more. He was somebody else. Or think about the guy Dalton Connect and the college career that guy had at Tennessee. Everybody know that Dalton Connect can play, but when you like LeBron James is just really stunting his growth, and to think that like the kind of career Dalton Connect could have had or would have, not that it's over with, that he would have if he didn't get overshadowed by LeBron James, and he have to kind of tailor his game when Bronny James is in there. It's just, like I would hate to be in a situation where I worked all my life to get to a spot, and then you have this guy, Bronny James, sitting there, and you gotta act like you okay with him not knowing how to set a screen, or you got him not knowing how to call out screens and call out picks and stuff like that, or basic things that professional basketball players do. Like not he don't know like when to go over the top of a pick, or or when to go under the pick. He don't recognize like the personnel that's out there on the court, and when those mistakes right there, you would never be able to win at a professional level when you have a guy on the court like that who don't recognize that. You can't, you don't even want to see him playing if you don't even want to see him playing like if you blowing a team out by 20, because he's going to bring his bad habits to the court, and you don't want to practice bad habits. I could never see Michael Jordan like at the end of the game you'll bring in Bronny James, and Michael Jordan. Mike never wanted to let his foot up off of people. Kobe never wanted Magic and Bird. You can't put somebody like that out there with guys who are fanatics, guys who are they just they just gym rats. You can't, they're perfectionists. You can't put them, those kind of guys, you can't put them out there with somebody like that. They wouldn't even want to play. You couldn't have him out on the court with somebody like that. And then I think it takes a lot of patience for a great ball player anyway to play with certain players. And Bronny James, it takes more than just patience, man. I think, it just shows like a level of selfishness on LeBron James' part. It shows a level of, like, LeBron James don't care about the NBA. LeBron James don't care about the Lakers, the organization. LeBron James don't care about Lakers fans. Now, people said that Kobe was selfish, Mike was selfish, and some, like guys, they said that Allen Iverson was selfish because they're scorers, they're one-on-one basketball players, right? But all of those guys, I guarantee you, care more about the game than LeBron James. You can't. He just showed how much he care about. Like I said, it's like it's only about him and his family, and that, I think, is going to be his downfall. Is going to destroy his um his legacy. His selfishness is just too much on display. Everybody, to a certain extent, is selfish, right? But it's just blatantly obvious how selfish he is. And I think Mike selfish, Kobe selfish. I thought Allen Iverson was selfish. Like most volume shooters, most people who are one-on-one, scorers. A lot of basketball players are selfish, but with LeBron James, it's just blatantly obvious that he's selfish, and it's obvious that he don't care about the game. He only care about himself, right? And I never seen a player display their selfishness just been on so much on display as LeBron James. You know, it's just crazy. So that's my take on it, man. I appreciate, people in my chat leaving, their comments. And then when they ask me to do a video focusing on a particular topic or subject, that's cool. I'm willing to do that. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that from what's the guy named Gig. Hold up. Yeah, I definitely appreciate that though, man. I just think that like I said, this is just demonstrates how selfish. All right, so that's Mig Gigs, 8661. Yeah, so big shout out. But that just shows how selfish LeBron James is. And Bronny James, just like his father, wanted to take shortcuts. And it shows when you get out there. If you don't practice, if you're not ready for that moment, when you get out there on that big stage, it shows. You got to be a gym rat, man. You got to be exceptional. And this guy is not exceptional. He took a shortcut, and it's obvious that he took a shortcut. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to leave a comment, and I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.